I like that part in the song where it goes, I get off, or I love 57 Chevys, pure Americana. That's what I like about people like Eric Clapton. They understand America. They got that American, oh gosh, what American culture embedded into their rock and roll, their musical DNA. Eric Clapton at number 15, up from, I can't read my writing. Just up from number 35 on my fantasy playlist. He's up to number 15, Eric Clapton. I got to rock and roll hard. Indeed, he does. And he cut this album, this record, after his first round of alcoholic rehabilitation. And the album the album was called Money and Cigarettes, produced by Tom Dowd. Tom Dowd, a book needs to be written about him. I don't know enough about him, but I do know this guy's a legend. He's been recording people since the 1940s. Tom Dowd, a producer and an engineer at Atlantic Records. He's worked with people like Rod Stewart, Cream, Lulu, Allman Brothers, Primal Scream, Meatloaf, Sonny and Cher, Willie Nelson, The Rascals. Did some work with the Four Seasons, although most of their music was produced by Bob Crew, or a lot of it was Bob Crew. And initially, Eric Clapton went into the studio to record with his touring band. They had just finished a tour of North America, and they cut some tracks for the album. But Tom Dowd was not pleased. He told Eric Clapton, you need to change your musicians. I'm not happy with this. So except for one guy, he kept on. Eric Clapton changed the musicians, changed the lineup on this album, on this record, and I got a rock and roll heart. He sure had it. Written by Troy Seals. Troy Seals, part of the Seals family. Dan Seals of England Dan and John Ford Coley, and Jim Seals of Seals and Crofts. Troy Seals, he co-wrote. Remember Lost in the 50s Tonight by Ronnie Milsap back in 1986. A nostalgic tour de force of the sock-off years of the 50s and early 60s. Big country hit. Also a minor pop hit, too, for Ronnie Milsap in 1986. Eric Clapton. And by the way, Tom Dowd, back in the 40s, he worked on the Manhattan Project. Even had some aspirations to become a nuclear physicist. Worked at a physics lab at Columbia University back in the 40s. Tom Dowd, boy, what a distinguished career. Well, Eric Clapton, best known for Lay Down Sally, Layla with Derek and the Dominoes, Wonderful Tonight. Song that was about Patty Boyd. Well, actually, quite a few songs about Patty Boyd. There was Layla about Patty Boyd, and the Beatles record, Something in the Way She Moves, about Patty Boyd. And Eric Clapton was crazy about Patty Boyd. I read about it. Absolutely nuts about her. Was even openly seeing her, even as she was still married to George Harrison in the early 70s. Although she split away from George Harrison and they got married. Eric Clapton married Patty Boyd around 1979. She came out with a fabulous autobiography. I do recommend it. Read it about 10 years ago. It's a good book. But the best known for Lay Down Sally, and of course, but when I think of Eric Clapton, go back to some of the more obscure records. Well, there was Cream, White Room, although not obscure record, Strange Brew, and Badge. Remember Badge? 1969, 1970. And there was Let It Rain, the scintillating Let It Rain. Remember that? Does anybody remember that song by Eric Clapton? One of his best. Would not be surprised if that song was about Patty Boyd too. It was back in the fall of 1972, but did not make top 40 here in the States. But one of his best. Had that great guitar. Phenomenal guitar. Passionate guitar. It just dripped with just heartfelt sincerity of God, I really feel for this person. I really feel. Just let it rain. Well, I got a rock and roll heart. did pretty well for Eric Clapton, doing well on my fantasy playlist at number 15 of March 18th, 1983.